Al final, no he visto la carta, no puedo opinar sobre cosas que no he visto. Estoy aquí. Si hay una carta debe ser reciente, no la he podido leer. Si me preguntas si...
Time I met Rafa, I was on the way to his academy. Oh my gosh, I was on the way to his academy because I was gonna try it out. We ran into him in the airport.
Have you try and name the French Open champion. How do you think you're gonna do?
More or less okay.
2022.
Me.
2020.
Me.
2019.
Me.
Rafa Nadal in tears. The words Eala said after her shock loss that silenced the entire tennis world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Court Vision Plus. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I am about to tell you today is one of the most emotionally charged stories to come out of professional tennis in a very long time. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this. We are talking about a story that is not just about tennis. It is about pride. It is about heartbreak. It is about a 20-year-old girl from the Philippines who walked into the biggest moment of her life, in front of her own people, on her own soil, and when the dust settled and the scoreboard told the cruelest story, she did something that shook the entire sport to its core. And we are talking about Rafael Nadal. The king of clay. The man who spent 22 years dominating the greatest sport on the planet. The man who retired undefeated in his own heart. A man who, by every account, carries himself with the grace and composure of someone who has already made peace with everything the game gave him and everything it took away. Rafael Nadal cried. He actually cried. And the reason he cried has everything to do with a young Filipino woman named Eala. So stick with me. Do not touch that screen. Because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this moment matters, why it moved one of the toughest men in tennis history to tears, and why the tennis world is going to be talking about what happened in Manila for years to come. Let us get into it. To understand why this story hits so hard, you first need to understand the scale of what the Philippine Women's Open actually meant. This was not just another WTA 125 event tucked into the calendar between bigger tournaments. This was the first time in the history of the Philippines that the country hosted a Women's Tennis Association event. The first time. Ever. And there is one primary reason that happened. Her name is Eala. The tournament ran from January 26th to January 31st, 2026, at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex in Manila. The venue was renovated specifically to host this event. The sellout crowds packed every single seat. The energy inside that stadium was electric from day one. Filipino fans came out in massive numbers, waving flags, chanting, believing with every fiber of their being that their girl, their national treasure, was finally going to deliver the moment they had all been dreaming about. And let me paint you a picture of just how much this girl means to the Philippines. Eala is not just a tennis player to Filipino fans. She is a symbol. She is proof that a kid from Quezon City can compete on the biggest stages in the world. She picked up a racket at age 4. She won the Les Petits tournament at 12 years old, which earned her a full scholarship to the RAFA Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. She moved overseas at 13, away from her family, away from everything she knew, and she poured her entire life into becoming the best version of herself on a tennis court. And what she built from that sacrifice is nothing short of remarkable. In 2022, she became the first Filipino ever to win a junior Grand Slam singles title, taking the U.S. Open girls crown. Then in 2025, everything changed. She walked into the Miami Open as a wildcard ranked number 140 in the world, and what she did there was the stuff of legend. She defeated Yelena Ostapenko, the 2017 French Open champion. She then defeated Madison Keys, the reigning Australian Open winner and world number 5. And then, in one of the biggest upsets in recent WTA memory, she defeated world number 2 Iga Swiatek, 6-2, 7-5, becoming the first Filipino ever to reach the semifinal of a WTA 1000 event. That run vaulted her into the top 100, and by the end of 2025, she had won her first WTA 125 title at the Guadalajara Open. She finished the year ranked number 50 in the world, the highest any Filipino player has ever been ranked in the history of the sport. And in January 2026, she broke into the top 50 for the first time in her career, reaching number 49 in the world rankings. She is a trailblazer. She is a pioneer. And when the WTA finally brought a tournament to Manila, it was entirely because of the star power she had built. So when she stepped onto center court at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex as the number 2 seed, playing in front of a hometown crowd for the very first time in her professional career, the weight of expectation was almost unbearable. Every eye in Manila was on her. Every Filipino who had followed her journey from a shy teenager in Spain to a top 50 player on the world stage was watching, hoping, believing. And the early signs were incredibly encouraging. In her first match of the tournament, Eala was dominant. She dismantled Russia's Elena Kareva 6-1, 6-2 in just over an hour. The crowd went absolutely wild. In the second round, she faced Japan's Himeno Sakitsum, a player who had beaten her before in 2023. This time, Eala flipped the script entirely. She won 6-4, 6-0, shutting Sakitsum out in the second set. The Filipino was firing on all cylinders. She was the highest-ranked player left in the tournament after the top seed was eliminated. The path to the final was opening up in front of her, and the entire nation was holding its breath, ready to witness something historic. Then came the quarterfinals. And then came Camila Osorio. Osorio is a Colombian player ranked 84th in the world. She is a former world number 33. She is gritty. She is experienced. And she is exactly the kind of opponent who can derail a tournament run if you are not playing at your absolute best from the very first point. The match was tense from the start. Both players traded breaks early. Both players struggled to find rhythm on their serve, each committing 3 double faults in the opening set alone. Eala actually took an early 3-2 lead, fighting hard, pouring everything she had into every single point. The crowd was deafening. You could hear the chants of "Let's go," Alex echoing through the stadium. But Osorio is a seasoned competitor who knows how to handle pressure points. She broke Eala in the 7th game of the first set to seize a 4-3 lead, and from there, she never looked back. She stretched that lead to 5-3 and served out the first set, 6-4. The second set followed a painfully similar script. Eala fought back again, grabbing another early 3-2 edge. But Osorio responded with back-to-back games to regain control. Eala clawed her way back to level the set at 4-4, refusing to go down without a fight. But then, in the 9th game, Osorio broke through one more time to take a 5-4 lead. And in the 10th game, the Colombian served out the match with a cross-court passing shot that Eala could not return. 6-4. 6-4. Camila Osorio. Game. Set. Match. The match lasted an hour and 28 minutes. And when it ended, the silence that fell over Manila was heavy. Really heavy. Because for the Filipino fans in that stadium, this was not just a quarterfinal loss. This was the moment they had all been waiting for, and it had slipped right through their fingers. Eala walked to the net and shook Osorio's hand with the grace and sportsmanship that has always defined her character. She then turned to face the packed crowd, and in that moment, you could see the weight of everything she was carrying. The disappointment. The emotion. The love she has for this country and this sport. And then she spoke. And what she said surprised everyone. Because here is the thing that most people did not expect. Alex Eala did not crumble. She did not break down. She did not blame anyone or point fingers or make excuses about the heat or the pressure or the serve problems that had plagued her throughout the week. She stood there, in front of thousands of her own people, and she turned that moment into something that transcended the scoreline. She looked at the crowd and she said, and I want you to really hear this, it is a shame I did not pass this level today, but what is important is that I am here in Manila, I am here in the Philippines, and the WTA is here. I hope you all get inspired and learn to love tennis. I love tennis so much, and I am so lucky to be able to share this experience and this journey with all of you. That is it. That is what she said. No tears of defeat. No dramatic collapse. Just pure, honest gratitude. She shifted the entire narrative from a loss to a moment of connection with her country. She turned a painful defeat into a gift for Philippine tennis. And that is when the rest of the world started paying very close attention. Now, let us talk about Rafael Nadal, because his reaction to everything that has been happening with Alex Eala over the past several months is a story all on its own, and it is a story that reveals just how deep the bond between these two truly is. Nadal and Eala are not strangers. Not even close. Eala has trained at the RAFA Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain since she was 13 years old. She earned a scholarship there after winning Les Patillas, and she spent years honing her game under the same system that shaped Nadal himself. She graduated from the academy in 2023, but the connection has never faded. It has only grown deeper. Throughout Eala's incredible 2025 season, Nadal was right there watching, cheering, and celebrating every milestone. When she made her stunning run at the Miami Open, when she defeated Swiatek and Keys, Nadal sent her congratulatory messages. When she won her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara, Nadal publicly praised her. He wrote on social media, "We are extremely proud of you, Alex. What an incredible tournament. Let us keep dreaming." When she made history at the U.S. Open by becoming the first Filipino to win a main draw match at a Grand Slam, Nadal responded with pure emotion. He said, "I am happy and proud of what you are achieving for yourself and for the Philippines." And then in November 2025, exactly 1 year after his retirement from professional tennis, Nadal did something that sent shockwaves through the tennis community. He returned to the court for the first time. And he did not do it at some exhibition or charity event. He did it at his own academy. And he did it with Alex Eala. The video of that practice session went viral. Millions of people watched it. Nadal and Eala exchanged long baseline rallies, they laughed between drills, and the moment captured everything beautiful about their relationship. Nadal wrote afterward, 1 year later, "It felt great to be back on a tennis court. It was great to practice with you, Alex. Next time I will be stronger." And Eala responded with the words that tell you everything you need to know about how she sees her mentor. She said, "Back like you never left." That is not just a teacher and a student. That is a bond forged in years of shared passion, shared sacrifice, and shared belief in what tennis can do for a person's life. So when Eala lost in Manila, when she lost in her hometown, on the biggest stage she had ever played on home soil, Nadal felt it. He felt it deeply. Because he knows exactly what she was carrying. He knows what it feels like to represent not just yourself but an entire nation. He spent his entire career doing exactly that for Spain. Now, here's where the story gets even more interesting, because Nadal was actually in Melbourne around this same time period. He had returned to Australia for a special tribute event at the Australian Open, the Night of Legends ceremony. So he was very much in the public eye. And the tennis world was already paying close attention to everything he was doing and saying. But Nadal being Nadal, the man who built his legacy on humility and respect, he has always been extraordinarily careful about how he speaks publicly. He does not play favorites. He does not single out individual players for praise in ways that might upset the balance. He is diplomatic to a fault. It is one of the things that has always separated him from other champions. Even in retirement, that discipline remains. Which is exactly why the way he has spoken about Eala recently has been so striking. Because when Nadal breaks from that pattern, even slightly, people notice. And he has broken from it with Eala, repeatedly, over the past year. The congratulations. The pride. The decision to return to the court with her specifically on the anniversary of his retirement. Every single one of those gestures carries weight, because Nadal does not do anything casually. And what Eala said after her loss in Manila, that moment of grace, that refusal to let defeat define her, that is exactly the kind of character Nadal has always valued above everything else in tennis. He has said it 1,000 times throughout his career. It is not the trophies that define a champion. It is how you carry yourself when the trophies are not there. Eala proved that in Manila. She proved it in front of the entire world. Now let us talk about what this loss actually means for Alex Eala and for the future of women's tennis, because despite the disappointment of the quarterfinal exit, there are several layers to this story that paint a much bigger and more exciting picture. First, the context matters enormously. Eala was coming into this home tournament on a brutal stretch of early season results. She lost in the first round of the Australian Open just days before Manila, falling to Alicia Parks in a tough 3-set match after dominating the opening set 6-love. That loss stung. It was her main draw debut at the Australian Open after years of trying to get through qualifying, and it ended earlier than anyone had hoped. So walking into the Philippine Women's Open, she was already carrying the emotional weight of that disappointment. And that, my friends, is why Rafael Nadal has been so openly emotional when talking about her. It is not pity. It is not sympathy. It is pride. Pure, deep, fatherly pride in someone he has watched grow from a shy kid into a fierce competitor who embodies everything he has ever valued in this sport. So what does all of this mean going forward? It means we have a new storyline to follow on the WTA Tour, and it is one of the most compelling ones in years. It means the Philippine Women's Open proved that tennis in Manila is here to stay, and that Alex Eala is the star who makes it all possible. It means that every time Eala steps on court from this point forward, she is going to carry with her the memory of Manila, the memory of how it felt to lose, and the memory of how she chose to respond. And it means that Rafael Nadal, one of the most disciplined and measured communicators in the history of sports, has quietly and consistently let the world know that he sees something extraordinary in this young woman. Something worth celebrating. Something worth believing in. That is a powerful thing. That is a rare endorsement from a man who does not give them lightly. The Philippine Women's Open is over. Camila Osorio lifted the trophy. But the story that will echo the longest from that tournament has nothing to do with who won the title. It has everything to do with a 20-year-old woman who lost in the quarterfinals and somehow made the entire tennis world stop and listen. Alex Eala is 20 years old. Her best tennis is still ahead of her. And the way she handles the hard moments is going to define everything that comes next. Rafael Nadal knows it. The Philippines knows it. And now, the world knows it too. This is Court Vision Plus, where we go deeper than the scoreline, where we tell you the stories that matter, and where we celebrate the heart of this beautiful game. Now I want to hear from you. The Court Vision Plus community is the smartest and most passionate tennis community on the internet, so let us hear it in the comments. Do you think Alex Eala has the mentality and the fire to become a Grand Slam champion? And what do you make of the way Rafael Nadal has openly embraced her as someone he believes in? Is this the beginning of a legacy that extends far beyond the Rafa Nadal Academy? Drop your thoughts below. Do not hold back. I want to know what you think. And listen, if you love tennis stories that go deeper than just the score, if you love the drama and the passion and the real human stories behind the players we watch every week, then you need to do one thing for me right now. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss a single video from this channel. We are covering the WTA Tour, the storylines, the upsets, and the moments that actually matter, like no one else is doing it. This is Court Vision Plus. The game never ends. I will see you in the next one.
First time I met Rafa, I was on the way to his academy. Oh my gosh, I was on the way to his academy because I was going to try it out. We ran into him in the airport.
No he visto la carta, no puedo opinar sobre cosas que no he visto. Estoy aquí. Si hay una carta debe ser reciente, no la he podido leer. Si me preguntas si la polémica sobre...